వైపు ఉంటాడు అటువైపు ఉంటాడు ఉంటే
to stand up when the flame comes inside as a respect to that flame. It has already reached outside the auditorium.
వీడికి తెలుగు సరి చదవడం రాలేదు సార్. అనిరుద్ధి
తెలుగు చదువులు రాదు,
నాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్.
ఇంగ్లీష్ లో రాకండి ఓకేనా.
దాని పోర్ట్ మార్చియండి, లేకపోతే దాని పోర్ట్ మార్చియండి.
తీసేస్తావా?
మాట్లాడద్దు అలాగే. పోర్ట్ మార్చియండి. అక్కడ పోర్ట్ మార్చుకోవచ్చు కదా, పోర్ట్ మార్చుకోవచ్చు కదా అక్కడ.
It started on the night of 25th March 1971, with thousands of people being killed when Pakistan launched Operation Searchlight, a campaign intended to deter the Bangladesh from seeking independence, escaped into a war which ended with more than 97,000 troops and 195 officers of the Pakistani force surrendering to the Indian Army.
అది 25 మార్చ్ 1971. భారత్ పాకిస్తాన్పై యుద్ధంలో విజయభేరి మ్రోగించింది. 97,000 పాక్ సైనికులను మరియు 195 పాక్ సైనికాధికారులను భారత సైన్యానికి తలొగ్గారు.
Good morning to all the dignitaries, ex-servicemen, Veer Naris, war veterans, ex-Koreans, and the members of the press present here. Today, I, Cadet Prachi and Cadet Anirudh, on behalf of the principal, staff, and cadets online and offline of Sainik School Korukonda, welcome you all to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the victory of the Indian Armed Forces in the Indo-Pak War 1971. We are celebrating this year throughout the country as the Swarnim Vijay Varsh. We just now witnessed Colonel Arun Kulkarni, principal, receiving the victory flag and the MASHAAL being escorted in the PVT Raju auditorium.
ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి విచ్చేసిన ప్రముఖులు, మాజీ సైనికులు, వీర నారీమణులు మరియు సైకర్యులందరినీ సైనిక్ స్కూల్ కోరుకొండ సాదరంగా స్వాగతిస్తోంది. దేశమంతటా స్వర్ణిం విజయ్ వర్ష్ ను డిసెంబర్ 16, 2020 నుంచి 16 డిసెంబర్ 2021 వరకు జరుపుకుంటున్న సందర్భంగా ఈ రోజు మన సైనిక్ స్కూల్ కోరుకొండలో విజయ్ జ్వాలను మన ప్రిన్సిపల్ కల్లల్ అరుణ్ కులకర్ణి గారు అందుకున్నారు.
It's a proud privilege that we Sai Koreans have got this great opportunity to be a part of this Swarnim Vijay Varsh celebration. As a tribute to the brave hearts, we, the cadets of Sainik School Korukonda, present a elegant program. I welcome on the stage the newly joined cadets of class 6 who are going to present a welcome song.
ఈ ఉత్సవంలో పాల్గొనే అవకాశం సైనిక్ స్కూల్ విద్యార్థులకు లభించినందుకు చాలా ఆనందిస్తున్నాము. ఈ సందర్భంగా ఒక చక్కటి ప్రదర్శనతో మా విద్యార్థులు సిద్ధంగా ఉన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు ఆరో తరగతి విద్యార్థులు స్వాగత గీతం ఆలపించడానికి వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం.
That was the first on-stage performance of our class 6 who are joining the school recently, and it was mesmerizing. May you learn the greatest leadership lessons and join the prestigious National Defense Academy in the coming years. Now, let me request our principal, Colonel Arhan Kulkarni, to give a welcome note.
కొత్తగా చేరి కొద్ది రోజులకే ఈ విద్యార్థులు చక్కటి ప్రదర్శనను అందించారు. ఇప్పుడు మన ప్రిన్సిపల్ కల్నల్ అరుణ్ కులకర్ణి గారు స్వాగత ప్రసంగాన్ని అందిస్తారు.
Good morning. It is a proud privilege for me to welcome Commodore M. Govardhan Raju, Nausena Medal, Naval Officer in Charge, Andhra Pradesh, Commodore M. Murli Mohan Raju, Nausena Medal, Srimati A. Surya Kumari, IAS, District Commissioner Vizianagaram, ex-Icorians posted in the Eastern Naval Command, Subedar A. Sannyasi Naidu, war veteran of Madras Engineering Group, ex-servicemen, Veer Naris and members of the press present here. The year 2021 marks the 50th anniversary of victory of Indian Armed Forces in the 1971 Indo-Pak War that led to the formation of Bangladesh. Accordingly, as a mark of tribute and celebrations of the victory, the year 2021 is being celebrated as Swarnim Vijay Varsh. As part of this, the Swarnim Vijay MASHAAL, the victory flame, is being taken across the country in 4 directions, that is north, south, east and west. The 4 victory flames started their journey from National War Memorial at Delhi on 15th December 2020 and will be amalgamated at War Memorial at Delhi on 15th December 2021, post traversing their respective routes. Victory flames are being taken across the nation by tri-service teams in light vehicles to towns and villages of awardees of 1971 war and next of kin stroke families for felicitation. Veterans are also involved in carriage of victory flame. The soil from key battle areas is being collected en route by the respective victory flames and will be brought to Delhi along with the flame. The victory flame of Southern Cardinal started from New Delhi on 16 December 2020 and has traversed the following path, with New Delhi, Agra, Gwalior, Bhopal, Itarsi, Nagpur, Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Coimbatore, Azimala, Kochi, Lakshadweep, again Kochi, Tiruvananthapuram, Kanyakumari, Madurai, Chennai, Andaman and Nicobar Islands prior to reaching Visakhapatnam. Today, it is a proud privilege that the victory flame of Southern Cardinal is in Sainik School, Korukonda. As you are all aware the aim of Sainik School is to prepare leaders who will join the defense forces and bring glory to the nation. I take pride to say that Sainik School Korukonda has fed more than 600 officers into the defense forces, out of which many have risen to the highest ranks of Lieutenant General and equivalents in the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. The school recently on 15th May 2021 dedicated Colonel Santosh Babu Mahavir Chakra Motivation Hall as a tribute to the valor and sacrifice which has added to the motivational factor of the cadets to don the service's uniform. The victory flame at our school today adds on to further motivating the cadets towards their goal to join the National Defense Academy. It is an honor that today we have amongst us Subedar A. Sannyasi Naidu, war veteran of Madras Engineering Group, who received mention in dispatches during the Indo-Pak War of 1971. It is also an honor to have amongst us the Veer Naris, whose sacrifice is equally unparalleled. I thank all the dignitaries, ex-Icorians, ex-servicemen, Veer Naris and the member of the press to have joined us today to make this event memorable. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Let's remember the sacrifice of those brave soldiers who died in the line of duty to protect our great nation. Now, let me call Cadet M.N. Sriram, Cadet P. Ganesh, and Cadet Rahul Narayan, who's going to join online and give a presentation on the Indo-Pak War 1971.
ఈ సందర్భంలో మన దేశం కోసం త్యాగాలు చేసిన వారిని గురించి స్మరించుకోవడం మన కనీస కర్తవ్యం. ఇప్పుడు 12వ తరగతికి చెందిన విద్యార్థులు కెడెట్ ఎంఎన్ శ్రీరామ్, కెడెట్ రాహుల్ నారాయణన్ మరియు కెడెట్ పి గణేష్ భారత పాకిస్తాన్ యుద్ధంపై ఒక ప్రదర్శనను ఇవ్వనున్నారు.
The Indo-Pak War of 1971 was a military confrontation between India and Pakistan that occurred during the Bangladesh Liberation War in East Pakistan from 3rd December 1971 to the fall of Dhaka on 16 December 1971. Erstwhile West and East Pakistan was administered from Islamabad, and the people of East Pakistan were dissatisfied with the treatment given to them by the Pakistani government. Hence, they, under the leadership of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, revolted against the Pakistani government with the support of Indian government. This was the major reason for the Indo-Pak War 1971. It was the first war where Indian Army, Navy and Air Force participated collectively. Each of these wings of the armed forces played a major role towards the Indian victory, which led to the birth of a new nation called Bangladesh. The war began with Operation Genghis Khan with preemptive aerial strikes on 11 Indian airfields. The war lasted for just 13 days and is considered one among the shortest wars in history, bringing an end to the 9-month-long Bangladesh War for liberation. By the end of April 1971, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had asked the Indian Army Chief General Sham Manekshaw for his preparedness to go for war with Pakistan. According to Manekshaw's own personal account, he refused, citing the onset of monsoon in East Pakistan and also the fact that the army tanks were being refitted. He offered his resignation, which Mrs. Gandhi declined. He assured victory if she would allow him to prepare for war on his conditions. Mrs. Gandhi accepted his conditions. By November 1971, an Indian-Pakistani war seemed inevitable. The Soviet Union reportedly warned Pakistan against the war, which they termed as suicidal course for Pakistan's unity. Despite this warning, thousands of people led by conservative Pakistani politicians marched in Lahore, calling Pakistan to crush India. India responded by starting a massive buildup of Indian army on the western borders. The army waited until December, when the grounds in the east made easier for the operations and the Himalayan passes were closed by snow, preventing any Chinese intervention. On 23rd November, President Yahya Khan declared a national state of emergency and told the country to prepare for war. On the evening of 3rd December, the Pakistan Air Force launched surprise preemptive strikes on 11 airfields in northwestern India. In an address to the nation on radio that same evening, Prime Minister said that the airstrikes were a declaration of war against India. The Indian Air Force responded with initial airstrikes the same night, which expanded to massive retaliatory airstrikes the next morning. This air action marked the official start of Indo-Pak War of 1971 and turned into a full-scale invasion of Pakistan. Now Cadet S. Rahul Narayan will continue the presentation online.
Role of Indian Navy during the wartime. Unlike the 1965 war, the Navy NHQ of the Pakistan Navy knew very well that the Navy was ill prepared for the naval conflict with India. In the Western theatre of the war, the Indian Navy's Western Naval Command under Vice Admiral S.N. Kohli successfully launched a surprise attack on Karachi port on the night of 4th and 5th December 1971 under the codename Trident. The naval attack involving the Soviet-built Osa missile boats sank the Pakistan Navy's destroyer PNS Khyber and minesweeper PNS Muhafiz, while PNS Shah Jahan was also badly damaged. Subsequently, Operation Python, a follow-up to Operation Trident, was launched on the night of 8th and 9th December 1971. A strike group consisting of one missile boat and two frigates attacked the group of ships off the coast of Karachi. While India suffered no losses, Pakistan fleet tanker PNS Dhaka was damaged beyond repair, and the Kimari oil storage facility was lost. Two other foreign ships stationed in Karachi were also sunk during the attack. The damage inflicted on the Pakistan Navy stood at 7 gunboats, 1 minesweeper, 1 submarine, 2 destroyers, 3 patrol crafts, 18 cargo, supply and communication vessels, and large-scale damage was inflicted on the naval base and docks in the coastal town of Karachi. 3 merchant navy ships and 10 smaller vessels were captured. Around 1,900 personnel were killed, and 1,413 servicemen were captured by Indian forces. Indian Navy celebrates the Navy Day on 4th December every year to mark its victory during Operation Trident. Role of Indian Air Force during wartime. After the attempted preemptive attack, the Pakistan Air Force adopted a defensive posture in response to the Indian retaliation. As the war progressed, the Indian Air Force continued to battle the Pakistan Air Force over conflict zones, but the number of sorties flown by the Pakistan Air Force decreased day by day. The Indian Air Force flew 4,000 sorties, while the Pakistan Air Force offered little in retaliation by bombing Okha Harbor, destroying the fuel tanks used by the boats that had attacked. In the east, Squadron Leader P.Q. Mehdi of No. 14 Squadron, Pakistan Air Force, was taken as prisoner of war, thereby leading to huge damage to Dhaka air defense, which resulted in Indian Air Force air superiority in the east.
Thank you, Cadet Rahul. Before the start of the war, the Indian Army was well organized on both fronts and enjoyed significant numerical superiority over East Pakistan Army. On the Western Front, the Battle of Langeval was fought from 4th to 7th of December 1971 as retaliation to advancing Pakistan armored tanks. The battle was fought between 120 Indian soldiers accompanied by 4 Hunter fighter aircraft and 2,000 to 3,000 Pakistani soldiers accompanied by 30 to 40 tanks. 23rd Punjab, commanded by Major Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri, ensured decisive victory in the battle, leading to 200 Pakistani casualties and destruction of 36 tanks. On 23rd November 1971,
the Indian Army conventionally penetrated to the eastern fronts and crossed East Pakistan's borders to join their Bengali nationalist allies. Contrary to the 1965 war, which had emphasized set piece battles and slow advances, this time the strategy adopted was a swift three-pronged assault of 9 infantry divisions accompanied by armored tanks and close air support that went directly to Dhaka. Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, the general officer commanding in chief of the Indian Army's Eastern Command, led the full Indian thrust into East Pakistan. As the Eastern Command attacked Dhaka, by then the Indian Air Force had already put the Dhaka airfield out of commission, and the Indian Navy had effectively blockaded East Pakistan. In ground operations, Pakistan suffered the most, with 8,000 casualties and 25,000 wounded, while India had only 3,000 casualties and 12,000 wounded. The loss of armored vehicles was similarly imbalanced, and these two factors finally led to a major defeat for Pakistan. On 16th of December 1971, Pakistan ultimately called for unilateral ceasefire and surrendered its entire 4-tier military to the Indian Army, hence ending the Indo-Pak War of 1971. The instrument of surrender of Pakistan was signed at 16:31 hours IST on 16th of December 1971 at Dhaka between Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora and Lieutenant General A.A.K. Niazi. As the image of the surrender instrument is a little bit illegible, I will now be reading the document for the sake of the audience. The instrument of surrender. The Pakistan Eastern Command agrees to surrender all Pakistan armed forces in Bangladesh to Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, General Officer Commanding in Chief of the Indian and Bangladeshi forces in the Eastern Theatre. This surrender includes all Pakistan land, air and naval as all the paramilitary forces and civil armed forces. These forces will lay down their arms and surrender at the places where they are currently located to the nearest regular troops under the command of Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora. The Pakistan Eastern Command shall come under orders of Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora as soon as this instrument had been signed. Disobedience of orders will be regarded as a breach of the surrender terms and will be dealt in accordance with the accepted laws and usages of war. This decision of Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora will be final should any doubt arise as to the meaning or interpretation of the surrender terms. Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora gives a solemn assurance that personnel who surrender shall be treated with dignity and respect that soldiers are entitled to, in accordance with the provisions of the Geneva Convention, and guarantees the safety and well-being of all Pakistani military and paramilitary forces who surrender. Protection will be provided to foreign nationals, ethnic minorities and personnel of West Pakistani origin by the forces under the command of Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora. The war stripped Pakistan of more than half its population, and with nearly 1/3 of its army in captivity, clearly established India's military and political dominance of the subcontinent. India successfully led a diplomatic campaign to isolate Pakistan and skillfully manipulate Pakistan's supporting countries to limit the extent of support to Pakistan. In addition, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's state visit to the United Kingdom and France further helped break ice in the United States and block any pro-Pakistan resolution in the United Nations. This victory also defined India's much broader role in foreign politics, as many of the countries in the world, including the United States, realized that the balance of power had shifted to India as a major player of the region. With this, I would like to take leave of you. Thank you and Jai Hind.
That was a well-rounded presentation of the Indo-Pak War of 1971. We are led down the memories of plain of grit and glory, remembering every brave Indian soldier who laid down their lives for this motherland. Now, I call upon our cadets to present a motivating song.
ఆహా, వీరు భారత పాకిస్తాన్ యుద్ధం గురించి చాలా చక్కగా వర్ణించారు. ఇప్పుడు మా విద్యార్థులు ఒక దేశభక్తి గీతాన్ని ఆలపిస్తారు.
That was indeed a performance full of josh. Now I call Cadet Lalit, Cadet Anirudh, and Cadet Cristiano of Class 9 to give a presentation on the Indian Armed Forces.
అది చాలా అద్భుతమైన ప్రదర్శన. ఇప్పుడు 9వ తరగతి విద్యార్థులైన లలిత్, క్రిస్టియానో మరియు అనిరుద్ మన భారతదేశ సైనిక దళం గురించి వివరిస్తారు.
We are present here to celebrate and to commemorate 50 years of India's victory over Pakistan in the 1971 Indo-Pak War. A brief on Indian Armed Forces. Indian Armed Forces consist of three professional uniformed services. They are the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force. The Indian Armed Forces are additionally supported by Indian Coast Guard and the paramilitary organizations. The President of India is the Supreme Commander of Indian Armed Forces. There are 1.4 million active citizens in our Indian Armed Forces. Indian Armed Forces are the second largest military force in the world. It is also the world's largest volunteer army. Indian Armed Forces has the third largest defense budget in the world. Now I call upon Cadet Cristiano to continue the presentation.
Indian Army. The Indian Army is a land-based branch and the largest component of the Indian Armed Forces. The primary mission of the Indian Army is to ensure national security and national unity, to defend the nation from external threats and internal threats, and to maintain peace and security within its borders. The Indian Army has 1,237,117 active troops and has modern weapon system. We celebrate 15 January as Army Day as a memory of the victory over Pakistan in Kargil War. We celebrate 15. The current Chief of Army is General Manoj Mukund Naravane, PVSM, AVSM, SM, VSM, ADC. Wars and operations of Indian Army. The Army has been involved in 4 wars with neighboring Pakistan and 1 with China. Other major operations undertaken by the Army include Operation Vijay, Operation Meghdoot, and Operation Cactus. Peace operations of Indian Army. Indian Army has conducted many peace operations, such as Operation Brass Tacks and Exercise Surveil. It has also conducted many humanitarian rescue operations such as Operation Surya Hope, Mission Sahayata, and Operation Meghrahat, and Operation Maitri. Now I call Cadet Andrew to continue the presentation.
Now I would like to continue the presentation on Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. The Indian Air Force is the air arm of the Indian Armed Forces. It also is the largest air force in the world. The main aim of the Indian Air Force is to safeguard the Indian airspaces. There are 1,60,000 air warriors and modern flying machines in the Indian Air Force. The Air Force Day is celebrated on 8th October every year. The present Chief of Air Staff is Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Badhuria, PVSM, AVSM, VM, and ADC. Coming to the wars and operations of Indian Air Force, since 1950, the IAF has been involved in 4 wars with neighboring Pakistan. The other major operations include Operation Vijay, Operation Meghdoot, Operation Cactus, and Operation Pumalai. Coming to the air power of the Indian Air Force, the Indian Air Force as of now have Su-30 Mark 1 twin-seater aircraft, fighter aircraft Mirage 2000, fighter aircraft MiG-29 Bison, and fighter aircraft Jaguar. Adding on to this, India also recently bought fighter aircraft Rafale from Dassault Aviation France. India also added transport aircraft C-130 and C-17 and helicopters Apache and Chinook. Now I would like to move on to the Indian Navy. The Indian Navy is the sea arm of the Indian Armed Forces. The main role of Indian Navy is to secure the maritime borders of the country. There are 70,000 active troops and modern inventory. 4th December is celebrated as the Navy Day every year. The present Chief of Navy Staff is Admiral Karambir Singh, PVSM, AVSM, and ADC. The first engagement in action of the Indian Navy was against the Portuguese Navy during the liberation of Goa in 1961. Operation Vijay followed the escalating tension due to the Portuguese refusal to relinquish its colonies in India. During Operation Vijay, the Indian Navy supported 2 planets and provided fire support. The INS cruiser Delhi sank one Portugal boat while frigates INS Betwa and INS Bies destroyed the Portuguese frigate. Now I would like to move on to the assets of Indian Navy. The Indian Navy consists of 150 ships and submarines, 300 aircrafts, one active aircraft carrier, one amphibious transport dock, 8 landing ship tanks, 10 destroyers, 14 frigates, one nuclear powered attack submarine, and one ballistic missile submarine. Coming to the operational fleet of Indian Navy, it consists of one active aircraft carrier, one amphibious transport dock, 8 landing ship tanks, 10 destroyers, 14 frigates, one nuclear powered attack submarine, one ballistic missile submarine, and many more. Now I would like to share the contributions of Sainik School Korukonda to the armed forces. Sainik School Korukonda has contributed more than 600 officers to the 3 elite services. This include 6 lieutenant generals, 2 major generals, a vice admiral, a rear admiral, 2 air vice marshals, and many more. The school alumni includes 2 martyrs who laid down their lives for our motherland. Captain R.V.S. Prasad was martyred in Indian peacekeeping operations in Sri Lanka, and Colonel Santosh Babu, who recently received Mahavir Chakra for his martyrdom in highest theatre of war in eastern Ladakh. With this, wishing you all a proud Swarnim Vijay Varsh, I conclude. Thank you and Jai Hind.
That was a comprehensive presentation. Now let's watch a short video clip on the Indo-Pak War. Let's relive those moments of action when our Veer Jawans proclaimed, "To my countrymen, I'm the shield. To my enemies, I'm the sword."
ఇప్పుడు మనం భారత పాకిస్తాన్ యుద్ధంపై ఒక వీడియో క్లిప్ చూద్దాం.
The 3rd of December 1971, Pakistan launched an unprovoked attack on Indian airfields. Our country faced challenges from both West Pakistan and East Pakistan and was left with no choice but to respond with decisive force.
Pakistan launched a full-scale war against us. The Pakistan Air Force suddenly struck at our airfield in Amritsar, Pathankot, Srinagar, Avantipur, Uttarlai, Jodhpur, Ambala and Agra.
Prime Minister's message to the country was clear. Aggression must be met. For the Indian Navy, it was a coming of age, a baptism by fire, an opportunity to take the war to the enemy. The task for the Navy was clearly defined in the message from the Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Nanda. The commander on the western seaboard, Vice Admiral S.N. Kohli, was directed to send a bold and spirited naval force into harm's way to destroy enemy units and harbor installations. The units chosen for this task were the newly commissioned Osa-class missile boats of the 25th Missile Vessel Squadron. Though designed for coastal defense, these missile boats packed a formidable punch if deployed audaciously with ingenuity and daring, and emphasis on surprise and perfect timing. What followed became a glorious chapter in the history of the Indian Navy. Due to their limited endurance, the missile boats were towed up to a certain point just south of Karachi harbour, from where they could proceed at full speed to carry out an attack and disperse thereafter. The crew of these missile boats had just returned after training in the erstwhile USSR and were fluent in the Russian language. All tactical communication during the mission was undertaken in Russian, adding to the deception in case the enemy intercepted the communication. The ships headed north in an arrowhead formation, hugging the Saurashtra coast before breaking out. Their objective? To set Karachi harbour ablaze. Just about 40 miles from Karachi, INS Nirghat reported a radar contact at a distance of 25 miles. The contact was evaluated to be a warship, and Nirghat was ordered to engage. She altered course towards the target and launched a missile. Pakistani destroyer Khyber was hit with the Indian Navy's first shot of the war. Nirghat had drawn first blood. Nipat and Veer continued steering north. Veer launched a missile at the minesweeper Muhafiz and disintegrated the target. Just before midnight, Nipat launched a missile towards the harbour entrance and scored a direct hit, setting the Kiamari fuel tanks and other harbour facilities ablaze. A fire that took 4 days to extinguish. The Chief of Naval Staff signaled, Operation Trident a success, Karachi ablaze. I am proud of you. This was swiftly followed up by Operation Python as the second wave of attacks. The total annihilation of ships and harbour facilities completely unnerved the Pakistani Navy. In a panic, they recalled all their major surface combatants to harbour. The success of these attacks had a dramatic effect on the war. The Indian Navy had accomplished the assigned task in style, and within the next few days of the war, a naval blockade was also imposed. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, the heroic actions of the naval units led by the aircraft carrier INS Vikrant ensured that the Indian Navy achieved control of the seas around both wings of Pakistan and scored an emphatic victory at sea. The country finally tasted triumph when General A.K. Niazi capitulated on the Eastern Front and signed the Instrument of Surrender on the 16th of December 1971. The stunning success of the Indian Navy's Operation Trident brought glory to the service, and the 4th of December is fittingly commemorated as the Navy Day, the day when Karachi was set ablaze.
What a history performance of our Army, Navy, and Air Force. The massive victory and the creation of Bangladesh was attained just in 17 days. Breaking the barriers of distance and time, we have few online speakers too. Cadet Gautam, Cadet GNK Siddharth, and Cadet Jashwant. Let us hear them.
ఇది ఒక అద్భుతమైన విజయం. ఎందుకంటే కేవలం 17 రోజుల్లోనే భారత సైన్యం ఈ యుద్ధంలో గెలిచి బంగ్లాదేశ్ అనే కొత్త దేశ ఆవిర్భావానికి కారణమైంది. ఈ సందర్భంగా మా విద్యార్థులు కొందరు ఆన్లైన్ మాధ్యమం ద్వారా వారి అభిప్రాయాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నారు.
With the success of Indian naval operations in East Pakistan, the Indian Navy subsequently commenced two large-scale operations, Operation Trident and Operation Python. Operation Trident was an offensive operation launched by the Indian Navy on Pakistan's port city of Karachi during the Indo-Pak War of 1971. The operation was conducted on the night of 4 to 5 December and inflicted heavy damage on Pakistani vessels and facilities. India celebrates its Navy Day annually on 4 December to mark this operation. On 4 December, a strike group was formed which consisted of 3 Vidyut-class missile boats, INS Nipat, INS Nirgat, and INS Veer. 2 anti-submarine corvettes, INS Kiltan and INS Kachel, and a fleet tanker, INS Poshak. As planned, on 4 December, the strike group reached 250 nautical miles south of the coast of Karachi. INS Nirgat fired its first six missile, a PNS Kuiper, a Pakistani battle-class destroyer. Observing that the ship was still afloat, Nirgat fired its second missile on Kuiper, eventually sinking the ship and killing 222 sailors. After verifying 2 targets northwest of Karachi, INS Nipat fired 2 Styx missiles, one each at cargo vessel MV Venus Challenger and its escort PNS Shah Jahan, a sea-class destroyer. PNS Muhafiz, a minesweeper, was targeted by INS Veer. A missile was fired on Muhafiz, killing 33 sailors. Meanwhile, INS Nipat continued towards Karachi and fired missiles on the Kemari oil storage tanks, causing a Pakistani fuel shortage. Trident was followed up by Operation Python 3 days later. Pakistani warships attempted to outsmart the Indian Navy by mingling with merchant shipping. To counter this move, Operation Python was launched on the night of 8 or 9 December 1971. A strike group consisting of 1 missile boat and 2 frigates attacked the group of ships off the coast of Karachi. While India suffered no losses, Pakistani fleet tanker PNS Dhaka was damaged beyond repair, and the Kemari oil storage facility was lost. 2 other foreign ships stationed in Karachi were also sunk during the attack. A number of Indian Navy personnel were honored with the gallantry awards for the operation, where Mahavir Chakra was awarded to the strike group commander, Commander Babruvan Yadav, for planning and leading the task force. For the latter operation, Lieutenant Commander Vijay Varsh, the commanding officer of INS Vinash, was awarded the Veer Chakra.
The war that created a nation, the war that refueled the pride of the Indian Armed Forces, the war that put a full stop to the Nazi-led genocide that killed nearly 3 million innocent people of Bangladesh. The Indo-Pak War of 1971 was a huge setback to Pakistan and a remarkable demonstration of strength, intelligence, and logistical capabilities of India. Good morning, one and all. Today, I, Cadet C. Gautam, along with Cadet JNSK Siddhartha and Cadet S. Jashwant Naidu, is going to speak on Indo-Pak War of 1971. I'm going to brief you on how the war has begun and the ground operations carried out by the Indian Armed Forces. In 1948, General Muhammad Ali Jinnah declared that Urdu would be the federal language of Pakistan. The people of East Bengal demanded that the language be given federal status during the language movement in 1948. This movement reached its climax on 21st February when police fired on the protesting students and civilians, causing several deaths. In November 1969, General Yahya Khan announced elections under a legal framework for general elections. In the elections held on December 6, 1970, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of Awami League had a clear majority in the House to become the Prime Minister. But Ali Bhutto of Pakistan People's Party, who was backed by the Pakistan Army, claimed parity with Mujibur Rahman, saying he was the sole representative of the people of West Pakistan. On March 1, General Yahya Khan announced the indefinite postponement of the National Assembly. Mujibur Rahman responded by calling a strike. 172 were killed and 358 were wounded during that week. On March 25, General Yahya Khan met military officers at Dhaka and gave the go-ahead for the final assault. At 11:30 p.m. on March 25, Operation Searchlight began. Bangladesh claimed that as many as 3 million were killed by Pakistani soldiers in a brutal campaign of murder, rape, and pillage. Some 10 million refugees fled to India. India declared the support for the Awami League, opened the East Pakistan border, and the BSF offered limited aid to the Bengali resistance. The Indian leadership decided not to directly intervene, but chose to get involved. The Army's Eastern Command took over the responsibility for the East Pakistan operations on April 29, and on May 15 launched Operation Jackpot to recruit, train, equip, supply, and advise Mukti Bahini fighters engaged in guerrilla warfare against the Pakistani military. India also launched a global diplomatic offensive to help create Bangladesh. In between May and December, Mukti Bahini, with the help of Indian Army, carried out offensives on the eastern and western borders of East Pakistan. The decision to attack India with preemptive airstrike was taken on 30 November 1971 by General Yahya Khan, and on December 3, 1971, Pakistan launched an air attack in western sector on 11 of the Indian airfields. The attacks did not succeed in inflicting substantial damage. The Indian Air Force retaliated the next day and quickly achieved air superiority. On the ground, the strategy in the eastern sector marked a significant departure from previous Indian battle plans and tactics. which had emphasized set-piece battles and slow advances. The strategy adopted was a swift, three-pronged assault of 9 infantry divisions with attached armored units and close air support that rapidly converged on Dhaka. Lieutenant General Sagat Singh, who commanded the 8th, 23rd, and 57th Divisions, led Indian thrust into East Pakistan. There was also an intense action in the western sector, the tank battle of Langeval, an armored operation in Rajasthan, was one of the major engagements in western sector that showcased an exemplary bravery of Indian forces and showed how India managed to defend a very critical outpost against drastic odds and a very superior attacking enemy. The battle was fought between 120 Indian soldiers accompanied by 400 fighter aircraft and 2,000 Pakistani soldiers accompanied by 40 tanks. Indian soldiers, commanded by Major Kuljit Singh Chandpuri, was awarded the Mahavir Chakra, the second highest Indian military decoration for his leadership in the Battle of Langeval. So these are the ground activities carried out by the Indian Armed Forces during the 1971 Indo-Pak War. Now Cadet Siddhartha will continue his talk. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Myself, Justin Naidu, and I would like to illustrate the role of Indian Air Force in the 1971 war. From the early 1971, the political situation in the subcontinent deteriorated. For some weeks in November, both the governments of India and Pakistan complained of violation of airspace along the western borders. But aerial conflict between the respective air arms began on earnest of November 22nd, preceding full-scale warfare between India and Pakistan by 12 days. At 14:49 hours, 4 Pakistan sabers strapped Indian and Mukti Bahini positions at Chowchamar area, and 10 minutes later, whilst engaged on a third strapping run, were intercepted by 4 NATs of 22nd Squadron, a detachment of which was working from Lundu Airport. During the ensuing melee, 3 sabers were shot down, while Indian NATs returned safely. Next 10 days, there were some follow-up encounters, but full-scale warfare began on 3rd December. Preemptive strikes were launched by Pakistan Air Force at Indian bases at Srinagar, Pathankot, and Amritsar. Apart from IF bases, Pakistan also launched attacks on railway stations and Indian armory concentrations and other targets. In response, IF carried 4,000 sorties in the west from major and forward bases of Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, and Punjab. Throughout the conflict, Indian strategy was to maintain defensive postures in the western and northern frontiers while conducting a lightning campaign in the east. In the west, IF's primary tasks are disruption of enemy's communication, destruction of their fuel and ammunition reserves, and prevention of any ground force concentration so that no major offences can be launched against India. On the eastern front, India launched a sophisticated campaign which included rapid moving infantry from all 3 directions, airborne and heliborne attacks, and missile attacks from submarines and other ships from the sea. The Indian Air Force had a good reason for satisfaction in its showing during 1971 war. Although Pakistan has initiated the war with some preemptive strikes, Indian Air Force gradually gained the ground and ruled over the skies. Though there were some war losses, Indian Air Force flew many sorties than its opponent. The main flights involved during the 1971 war are NATs and MiG-21s. Initially, NATs are dominated, but later on, MiG-21s showed their superiority in the war.
Special thanks to Cadet Gautam, Siddharth, and Jashwant, who took these efforts to record this wonderful speech for us during this auspicious occasion. Now it's time to felicitate our war veterans and Veer Naris. Therefore, I hand over my mic to Mr. N. Mehshrini, PGT Chemistry, to carry out the felicitation ceremony.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఈ యుద్ధంలో పాల్గొన్న వీరులు మరియు వీర నారీమణులను సన్మానించుకుందాం.
Respected dignitaries, staff, and my dear cadets. A very good morning to you all. Today we are very fortunate to celebrate this historic event, Swarnim Vijay Varsh, to commemorate the victory of Indian Armed Forces in 1971 war. We, the staff and cadets of Sainik School, consider this as a proud privilege as the victory torch is brought to the school and we are celebrating this event at our school. This victory did not come so easily. It is due to the great sacrifices made by sincere and dedicated soldiers and officers of Indian Armed Forces. During these celebrations, I consider that it is our duty and responsibility to remember these brave hearts and felicitate them and their families. Now, I request Principal, Vice Principal, Adam Officer of the school, and I am also requesting Commodore Govardhan Sir to come on the dais for felicitation. Today we have two war veterans who have participated in 1971 war with us. First, I request Subedar Major A. Sanyasi Naidu to come on the dais. Subedar Major Sanyasi Naidu స్టేజ్ మీదకు వచ్చి సన్మానాన్ని స్వీకరించాల్సిందిగా కోరుచున్నాను. Subedar Major A. Sanyasi Naidu, Madras English Regiment, participated in 1971 war and received an award of mentioned in dispatches in 1971 war. He performed his duties of laying and removing mines during the war. Today we have one more war veteran of 1971 war with us. He is Naik D. Devadanam. Naik D. Devadanam గారిని స్టేజ్ మీదకు వచ్చి సన్మానాన్ని స్వీకరించాల్సిందిగా కోరుచున్నాం. Naik Devadanam of 47 Air Defense Regiment. He was awarded with Sangram Medal. Now I invite Veeranari Rettangi Kottamma to command the dais. Savar Misala Srinivas, 164 Light Cavalry Armed Corps, martyred on 26 September 2013 at Samba due to gunshot wound in Operation Raksha at Jammu and Kashmir. Next, I invite Veeranari B. Srivani to command the stage. Nayak Bottam Satyam of 6th Rashtriya Rifle Parent Unit 1 Field Regiment attained martyrdom while the Kupwar in 4th October 2015 due to subtle fatal injury during war. Now I request Veeranari Mamidi Anusha to command the dais. Sipan Nagaraju Mamidi of 51 Regiment Rashtriya Rifle Maha Regiment martyred on 26 January 2017 in Bandipur district. Now I invite Veeranari P. Sudharani to command the stage. Nayak P. Chandra Rao of 603 EME was martyred on 4th February 2021 due to extreme climate conditions while performing operational duty at a high altitude area in eastern Ladakh in Operation Snow Leopard. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, I request Cadet Prachi to continue the further proceedings.
Now may I request Commodore M. Govardhan Raju, Nausena Medal, Officer in Charge, Andhra Pradesh, to speak few words.
Commodore MMM Raju, Colonel Kulkarni, Principal, Sainik School, Korukonda, all serving officers in the audience, respected war veterans, Veer Naris, and ex-servicemen present here, persons from friendly persons from electronic and print media, respected teachers and staff from Sainik School, Korukonda, and all my dear students, our dear students and cadets who have performed here and present here, and also all those who are watching us live on social media. Good morning. Andarki na namaskaram. I am Commodore M. Govardhan Raju, Naval Officer in Charge, Andhra Pradesh. I can proudly state to all of you that I am ex-Icorian, roll number 1638, Pandya and Chalukya House, from Psychor 79 batch. First of all, to start with, about this celebration, about Swarnim Vijay Varsh and Victory Frame celebrations. The process, the purpose, and how it has progressed till now has already been covered adequately by the principal. So I will not touch upon any further. As far as 1971 war goes, it is indeed an extremely proud moment for all of us as Indians that the war had a glorious ending for all of us. It is the first time in a war that a nation has been born because of the outcome of the war. And we can proudly state to everybody in the world that Indian Armed Forces, with active support from everybody, including politicians, citizens, and everybody, we could achieve that grand feat. The victory, Swarnim Vijay Varsh and Victory Frame celebrations started on 16 December 2020 at New Delhi, and it's going to terminate or culminate on 16 December 21 at New Delhi again. The process or the journey of the Victory Flame till now has been very well covered and very well received at all the places wherever it is gone. Not only from the service personnel, but also from civilian fraternity and everybody. And it has received vast media coverage, as well as reception has been grand, and it is given its due respect wherever it has gone. From here, yesterday only we received this Victory Flame in Visakhapatnam, in the presence of Honorable Home Minister and Vice Admiral Ajendra Bahadur Singh, Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command. Today it is here. This flame from here on will go to some shore units in Visakhapatnam and also to various schools, NCC units and Navy Children's Schools, etc. and Kendriya Vidyalaya in Visakhapatnam. Before it starts its journey southwards, going to Rajahmundry, Vijayawada, Nalgonda, and finally it will be handed over to Army in Hyderabad on 12th of September. I must compliment the school and the principal and the entire team at Science School Korukonda for the wonderful reception they have given for the victory flame, and very well deserved recognition which is required, and it has been very sensitively handled and grandly covered in this reception here. I must compliment the teachers and more importantly all the students who have put in their effort and gave an impressive performance in front of all of us. And also I must compliment all the cadets who are watching us on the social media and YouTube for their contribution to the entire event. It is I'm very glad to notice the sharp development and progress being made by the school in all fields. And 8 of ex-Icorians serving naval officers are present here, and we are very proud to be here on this occasion of the Victory Film celebration in the Sainik School, our alma mater. What we are today is because of the school and the grooming we received in the school. We are eternally grateful, and our gratitude to the staff and members and the whole team at Sainik School who have groomed us to be what we are today. In the end, I would like to compliment the principal, Colonel Kulkarni, and his entire team, and most importantly the cadets for this grand reception. And thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Sainik School Korukonda stands tall for imparting holistic education. With a lot of enthusiasm and zest, our cadets are here to perform a patriotic dance. Let me welcome the dancers on the stage. And with that, we come to the end of the program. A program where the earnest gratitude showered upon the war heroes and veterans who gifted us this freedom we enjoy. A program where Sainik School Korukonda stood with the rest of the country to pay homage and respect to the chivalrous martyrs who blessed us this life we adore today. A program which stands tall as a token of what we are as in a country and what we will be in the future. Our nation flutters in the pride today like the national flag hoisted in the front of the majestic institution. Now I request Mr. M. N. Narayan sir to deliver the word of thanks.
Good morning to everyone assembled here to celebrate the Swarnim Vijay Varsh. I am M.N. Narayanan from the Faculty of Social Sciences to propose vote of thanks. May I place it on record on behalf of the principal and all Psychorians our sincere gratitude to the FOCNC for offering this program to our school. May I also take this opportunity to express our sincere, heartfelt gratitude to Commodore M. Govardhan Raju, Commodore MMM Raju, Captain Indian Navy V.S.C. Rao, Honorable District Collector Srimati Surya Kumari, Colonel A.K. Notial, Commanding Officer, Tuandra Girls Battalion, District Sainik Welfare Officer Sri Krishna Rao, war veterans, Veer Naris, other officers, members of the press, and all who have taken their precious time to grace this occasion. I once again thank all who have made it possible. This day, I am sure, will be remembered forever in the history of Sainik School, Korukonda. Thank you one and all. May I request everyone to please stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
May I request all serving officers, ex-servicemen, war veterans, Veer Naris, District Sainik Welfare Officer to join us for a photograph in front of the palace and a high tea inside the palace thereafter. Thank you once more.